Hi, this is Steve Adubato. Thank you so much for joining us remotely. I promise at some point in the future we'll be back in our studio at NJTV or our studio in New York City and Lincoln Center at WNET, the Tisch WNET studio. But right now we are honored to be joined by Nadine Wright-Arbubakrr, who is president and founder of Nassan's Place. Nadine, good to see you again.
Good to see you as well, Steve.
For those who may not know, Nassan's Place is, describe it.
Nassan's Place is a 501c3 nonprofit organization helping to enrich and make a difference in the lives of children and families affected by autism in and around underserved inner city communities.
And you care so much about this because?
I live it every day. Nassan Place was inspired by my son, Nassan, who's 16 years old and nonverbal. And the organization was started due to the lack of resources and programmings and supports in and around my urban inner city of Essex County.
You know, I met you through my sister, Michelle Adubato, who founded the Center for Autism. You were there at the opening, I remember. Let folks understand, what are most parents facing, for parents of children who are dealing with autism? What are the families often dealing with?
They're dealing with uncertainty. They're dealing with behaviors that they may not have known to ever exist because they never experienced having a child with autism. They're dealing with delays in their children. They're dealing with emotional, physical, cognitive, sensory. It's an emotional roller coaster. And I tell people all the time, you know, autism changed my life. It didn't stop me from living. It just allowed me to live a little differently. And it is a life changer, but you can still live. And it's just a matter of getting the right supports in your community to help you to live the life that you should be able to still live, even if you have a child with autism.
You know, we're taping toward the end of the summer. We'll be seeing later. COVID is very real and very painful and difficult for so many. How has it impacted children and families dealing with autism?
Wow, where do I begin? Children already had the disadvantage of not having all of the supports that they needed, and they were able to now get them, whether they were in a school setting or outside, getting various therapies from OT to PT to speech to some type of sensory events, whether it's going to the movies or going to an outing. That all changed. A lot of our children have regressed because of the COVID-19 pandemic, because they can't do the routine things that they're normally used to doing. They're now tasked to staying in the house. And some of our children, a lot of our children don't understand it. All they know is in their minds, they want to go outside or they want to go to school. They want to do what they've gotten used to doing in terms of their routine. So this has definitely been a huge negative impact on the families, especially these beautiful and special children, from educational to recreational to social to emotional. So they've been on a roller coaster.
How have you communicated this to Nassan?
You know, it's interesting because, you know, the first few days of Nassan not going to school, he didn't understand. So he would still get his book bag, get ready to go. You know, he still couldn't understand, and he would gesture to go to the door. Because Nassan is nonverbal, he doesn't speak through words, but he speaks through his actions. So he knows to go get his coat, to get his shoes. And for the first week or so, it was a little difficult for him because he knew that it was a certain time that he would be able to go to school, and that was his routine. And, you know, it was very hard in the beginning for him to adjust to that. But the good thing that, you know, Nassan has, and I say this all the time, it's important to get those outside supports. He gets ABA therapy 20 hours a week.
What is that?
ABA is applied behavior analysis. It's a technique used to help address some of the behaviors in children. And Nassan's therapist actually lived maybe walking distance from us. So she was still able to support some of his services through this.
You know, speaking about support, we know about you not just from the Center for Autism, but also from our friends at the Horizon Foundation. How important is corporate and foundation support for the work that you are doing every day?
It is very, very important. Nonprofits, small nonprofits like myself, unable to be able to do our annual fundraisers. You know, we usually do a comedy for a cause every year to raise funds for the organization. We do a walk, one in the city of Newark and one in the city of East Orange. We were not able to do that. We also do an annual gala every year. These are our 4 fundraisers for the year, and none of that is going to happen. So we had to get creative in doing webinars. We had to get creative in doing fundraisers virtually. We did a talent show with children with autism back in May to try to raise funding. We also did a talent show with some local talent individuals in comedy to try to raise funds. But it's been challenging. But the one thing I can tell you is Nasson's Place is still making an impact in the community by providing for these families.
Nadine, to you, to Nassan, and to every family, every child and every family of that child dealing with autism, thoughts and prayers are with you, and you have an open invitation on our public television platform. Thank you so much, Nadine.
Thank you, Steve.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, the New Jersey Education Association, PNC, Grow Up Great, the Northward Center, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, the Russell Berry Foundation, and by the Fidelco Group. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
The essence of the Northward Center is ingrained in our values, thoughts, and actions. What began as a storefront on Bloomfield Avenue has evolved into a life-changing community nonprofit. The mansion is steeped in tradition, but with all of its grandeur, the true essence of the Northward Center is in the people we serve. So as the Northward Center commemorates 50 years of service, let's also celebrate the many opportunities yet to come.